E-cigarettes have become increasingly popular over recent years, and we're hearing more about vaping-related illnesses all over North America. Nainesh Kotak, a disability and injury lawyer and a regular on Morning Live, is here to talk about some of the possible liability issues. There might be a number of these. We're kind of seeing what we saw with cigarettes,
Correct.
and that was over decades.
Yes.
This might be a little accelerated.
I think so. You know, the research came out in the 1950s with the tobacco industry and the link between lung disease and cancer. But it really took until the 1990s before you started seeing settlements and judgments.
A lot of that was the culture difference.
The culture was very different. Here, you know, with social media and having gone through litigation with the tobacco industry in the past, I think things will speed up a little bit.
We're a lot more aware and sophisticated, perhaps.
Exactly. But you know, the issue is this: can you show the correlation between the illnesses we're seeing in the United States and to a limited extent in Canada?
Yeah, we have a handful of cases.
Exactly.
Back in Ontario, BC as well.
British Columbia. Yeah. So that correlation, can we show the correlation between something about the vaping, whether it's the heating of the vitamin E, whether it's the batteries, to the illness? And that's going to be really the issue. Can you show causation? And it may happen, it may take some time, but I think there's going to be a fair bit of research that is needed, but it is happening. There is research going on, and in fact, there is litigation happening in the United States arising out of some of the vaping-related injuries.
It's a sticky issue, though, where you have a number of authorities and bodies saying people need to stop vaping. We don't know exactly what the problem is, but there's a problem.
Yes.
Yet, what do you put on a warning label when you don't actually have any clinical evidence?
Fair enough. Right now, you know, there isn't anything. There was federal consultations that were happening in terms of, you know, sort of amalgamating some of the legislation and forcing labeling. That consultation ended on September 5th, and I suspect whichever government comes in, they'll probably put some sort of restrictions there. The federal legislation, the Tobacco and Vaping Products Act, really governs it from the federal level, and it's interesting. They have provisions in that statute that prohibit the marketing of vaping-related products to young persons. The problem is it doesn't really define what type of advertising that is. And you have legislation in Ontario, the Smoke-Free Ontario Act, that actually does permit the promotion of vaping products in non-vaping stores, such as convenience stores, as long as it complies with the federal legislation. But it's quite ambiguous. What does that mean? You know, you could have a nice tower, a vaping tower in the convenience store, no tar, no tobacco. Is that attracting young people or not? And it's an interesting issue that's going to have to be looked at. You know, the statistics are showing 1 in 5 high school students are vaping, okay, or have vaped, and some to more degree than the other. That's a staggering amount of people. And particularly if they're using the e-cigarette version with nicotine, the addictions that you could see down into you know, for the rest of their life. So this is something that I think is going to have to be dealt with pretty quickly.
And this is supposed to be a smoking cessation product.
Exactly. That was the idea behind it, and it may well be. It may well assist with that, but that is for adults to, you know, to cease in smoking. That's how it all began.
Flavoring it.
Yeah, and this is an issue. The flavoring. Look, flavoring. Who does that attract? You know, if you have mango flavor, coconut flavor, whatever you might have, it's going to attract young people. So I think what's going to have to happen is I don't think vaping is going to go away unless the research comes out quickly and is so strong. I think that there's going to need to be more legislation that restricts labeling and the distribution and how it is marketed, and you know, obviously warning labels.
And manufacturers need to think about this too to protect themselves from. We know of the class action huge settlements with you know the big cigarette and the tobacco companies.
Exactly, I think so. You know, you could have litigation with the distributor, the manufacturer, and any regulatory authorities that didn't insist on warning. You know, it could balloon again into massive litigation for those who may have been adversely affected by vaping.
Right. Well, it's a big issue, not going away, but we appreciate your input on this and many other issues. We're going to link up your website at chch.com. Nainesh Kotak, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.